I'm delighted to have you all here. This is a very special reading for Women and Children First because Chelsey, the author I'm celebrating tonight, is also a former staff member of the store and a dear friend of the store as well. So it makes it even more special. And some of the wonderful people associated with the store and the store itself make little cameos in the book, which I loved. It delighted me. But I think most of you know that we do have author readings 2 to 3 times a week here. So if you're ever looking for something to do, if you're bored at home, come to our reading. They're free. They're fun. So it's out. You can check our Facebook page. You can check our website and just find out what's happening. For example, actually, one of our current staff members is having a book launch here on December 3rd. So we're just all about the staff. Former staff, current staff. Their name is H. Milch, and they just wrote a book of essays and poems on gender and queer identity. So that is on December 3rd at 7:30. So come back for that. So now on to tonight's reading. So about 5 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, Chelsey and I both participated in a reading that on what was once a stage right here at Women and Children First. We were both students of Maria Hornbacher at that time, and frankly, the maturity and the grace that Chelsey had at that reading far outshone anyone else who read that night. She seriously blew everyone else out of the water, and it was very obvious that she was the most talented reader in the lineup. So I'm very happy to be back with Chelsey here. So since that night, both of our lives have changed rather dramatically. Chelsey has published her first book, and I've become the co-owner of the store. So there is, I think, some beautiful symmetry happening with having Chelsey's reading here tonight. In BodyHome, Chelsey asks, how do we listen to desire? And then she offers a different answer to that question with every single essay in the collection. Her essays are vulnerable and honest, challenging and comforting. They are howls of pain met with soothing whispers. As readers, we hear Chelsey speaking not only to us, but also to herself. She is writing us and herself home. We are so honored to host what I think will be the first of many readings for future books by Chelsey Clammer.
Hello, most people I know. I'm so full of love right now, and I never thought I would ever actually say that in my life, but I am. I'm glad that so many different people are here, and you're from many different moments in my life, and I could cry. I'm not going to, but I could. And thank you, Linda, and Women and Children First for not only hosting me, but for kind of being my mother's while I lived here in Chicago. You were my mom while I was here, so the store means a lot to me. And it feels really good to have my first reading be at this store. You get that, really can. Okay, I was going to read 4 pieces, but I know you guys have a lot to do, and I also just kind of feel like hanging some people, and I have to get going soon. So I'm going to do 3, and I'm going to read 2 funnier-ish ones from the book BodyHome, and then another one that is newer. Okay, so yeah, BodyHome, the concept is that if we can find the concept of home in our bodies, we can be at home anywhere in the world. And I came to that realization while living here and also traveling back and forth to Minneapolis to see a friend and coming back, and just, I was in really good therapy at the time. I have to give a shout out to my therapist who was here. Hi, Christy. Thank you. So each essay deals with a different way that we experience the world through our bodies and the different experiences that we can get a sense of home from. from all these experiences in our bodies. The word body shows up a lot in the book, obviously. I'm just going to start. So the first one is called On Ecstasy. The green lighter's wheel grinds back with the force of my father's thumb. It's a smash thumb, a thumb he hit with a hammer years ago, years before the idea of me was even conceived. The wheel turns, fire sparks. Dad's deep chocolate eyes stand out, are illuminated by the flame waving inches away from his face. Cigarette lit, the low-grade flash of fire quits. The man standing before me becomes a blur as he is engulfed by the night, by that crisp darkness that will give space for the shape of a conversation that's about to occur, grow. But first, a few minutes before, I wake my father up and plead for him to come join me for a midnight cigarette. An odd act. Odd, since I rarely talk to him, and odd since he has no idea that I smoke, though there's not a hint of hesitation in his movements. Untangling his ungainly body from a bed full of sheets, twisted around his legs, he agrees to my proposition of a smoke. He grabs his pack, takes 2 out, and elated, I skip down the hall and to the front door. It's the ecstasy in my blood that propels me, launches me along. Now into the night air we go! Which I actually did scream. My father's following me. I go outside and my skin tingles. Stars vibrate in the sky above me. This is what love must feel like. That full body that's full of electricity, sparks and shimmering blasts of excitement. A full body that's full of ecstasy. Even my toes, even my tongue, they all hum right along to the tune of those ecstatic fuck yeah chimes that dance in my eardrums. Euphoria whistling. Hello, ecstasy. All of me, all of my body, zaps into the air as I twist around to face my father. His face speaks a collection of thoughts. Thoughts that the ecstasy, which courses loudly through my veins, my brain, keeps me from hearing. Though it appears he doesn't care that his youngest daughter is rolling hard on drugs right in front of him. Because drugs or not, here's the daughter who despises him, now wanting to smoke a midnight father-daughter cigarette. This is me, 18, high on ecstasy for the 4th night in a row. My friends burnt out after the 3rd night, but I'm persistent, tenacious, and I stubbornly refuse to stop doing the drug. I don't want to take a hiatus from this high. I don't feel the drug burning holes in my brain, not yet, though it will in a few days. Instead of pain, what I feel in this precise moment of a smoke being lit is satisfaction from witnessing a cigarette's stellar performance. How it perfectly conveys what a job well done can look like. My dad hands over a Marlboro Ultralight 100 and the green lighter. Smoke lit, I linguistically surge through something that's been bothering me lately. Quick, before an awkward silence can settle in between us. Here it comes. So Courtney's pissing me off because she has this crush on another girl, my best friend Sabrina's girlfriend Lee, actually, and she keeps telling me about how cute she thinks Lee is because it's better to talk about these things than to lie about them because that's how we have open communication. And isn't that what a good relationship should have? But I'd rather have her lie about Lee because I don't want to hear about her attraction to other women. It makes me feel ugly. Piercing the humid summer air with my cigarette as I make this last statement, I then take a long drag and let my father tell me the things I need to hear most. Well, Chelsey, he begins, not skipping a beat to respond to my ecstasy-fueled diatribe. The drugs do not delude me, though. I can sense his utter confusion, how he's taken aback by the absurdity of this situation. I've been an out and proud lesbian for 2 years now, but my dad and I have never discussed the fact of my queer sexual orientation. We just don't connect like that. Just don't know how to talk about anything besides the truck he bought me, or the computer he bought me, or the softball glove he bought me, or the X-Files video game he bought me, or the stereo he bought me. But in this moment, in these first few seconds of his fatherly response starting to seep out, I see a different dad. One who cares about, perhaps even loves, his youngest daughter. Through the manic shrieks of ecstasy, I devour the good and supportive energy that's here now, twirling around us, and he continues, gives me stellar advice. Here it comes. Advice, 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 advice. I have no idea what he says. The drugs. But it's the feel of his voice, deep and smooth, that will stick to my mind. Stick inside me way after he dislodges himself from this world. Now, his words glitter and glow through my skin, that permeable organ, a part of me finally letting a part of him in. A thing I've never done before. And I can feel the fact of it conga up and down my back, those father's eyes taking me in, his unspoken curiosities ladder along my skeleton. Steps now being taken to take our relationship into a space where it can thrive, deepen, vibe even. Vibrations of his breath swirling around my flesh. Here is my dad, speaking to me for the first time like a dad speaks to his daughter. This is what love must feel like. He talks to me, says whatever it is he says to help calm what small bit of my intoxicated and hyped up nerves can be quieted or quelled. His voice trails off with his smoke's end, but not before I understand that even a voice full of gibberish can taste just as sweet as nicotine on ecstasy. That was on ecstasy. Great. You can pause. Makes me feel better about it now. Oh. I'm going to jump over to a different essay. So last year, this essay, it's called A Striking Resemblance, was, I won second place for a nonfiction contest from Waterstone Review. And then this year, I just found out about a month ago, it was nominated for a Pushcart Prize, which is pretty big. I don't know if it'll win, but it's cool it got nominated. So the actual essay is like 13 pages long. So I've condensed it here. So if you read it, this is the shortened version. Okay, A Striking Resemblance. I'm also getting over being sick, sorry. Hold on, I'm gonna have more water. Again, A Striking Resemblance. But I was talking about lightning. There, between us, magnetic flux. The density of our different desires tethering us together. I am pulled towards him, my compass oriented. We lie in his field of attraction, and I travel and re-travel to him again and again. There's the metaphor of the magnet, the fact of how each has its magnetic moment, the pull, the touch, the continual drawing closer, lured into that field, the magnetic one in which I enter, then his urge to me, though not yet, the tenacious wait. Then we meet, then the two of us tumble together towards the fact of connection, the fact of attraction, his decision. He comes to me, fact, magnets interact. Also, there's the spark. What a cliche. I'll use it anyway. The spark, its force, the need, magnetic moment, tactility. Suppose I were to tell you that he only touched me once. Suppose I were to tell you I haven't seen him since. Suppose I were to tell you his hands have yet to recede. Magnetic, two energies charging, building, colliding, then striking. It's how electricity is conceived. A tremendous electrical buildup in clouds is what concocts lightning. The electricity stews, brews, and then it is ready. Lightning channels escort it to the ground, the taxing of manic energy. The surge of lightning leaves evidence on its existence behind. Everything touch, now magnetized. Its unique magnetic signature stamps itself on the world. Then the lightning quickly retreats like part of a couple in a one-night stand, leaving in the air behind it that charged magnetic feeling that something happened here. Perhaps at times we can still feel it, that flash of an influence. There is no going back. And about the lightning, about how there was that magnetic charge once, about how he almost came back, about how he does now, differently, a different kind of flash. After our magnets somehow pull away from each other, the grasp released, the weeks spent alone and then more weeks spent alone, holed up in my apartment grieving. When I re-entered the world, I look for him everywhere. Strangers shapeshift for a second. Him, that's him. Maybe. No. I become curious about my attraction to him, how it is I have come to consider the creation of that magnetic moment as something called we. How it is that I continue to feel the crackling buzz of his touch imprinted in my skin. My veins ache. I dive further into the definition, wanting to know the specifics of this specific attraction, him, his hands, his only touch. To understand it, yes. To make it a part of me, yes. To make sense of how I continue on with the pronoun we, regardless. Even in his absence, we. The intensity that reeled him in, hands fishing for flesh, white veins crackle across the sky. The electricity impresses me, its tenacity, its persistent return, its resilience. Lightning striking the skin is a type of artistry. Electricity races through the path of least resistance, veins like taxis. Lightning penetrates, enters past our permeable membranes, the pores of skin, the splashes into the current of blood and body, the bolt graffitiing its existence through the maze of those veins, leaving dark marks, those tubular, charred replicas of itself. The evidence of tissue damage proves the strike's accomplishment, an impression left on human flesh. When lightning strikes skin, when nature's assault on the body has retreated, when it walks away from its one chance, when the lightning survivor wakes up in a hospital and looks down at her body, what she sees is the tattoo of lightning's trajectory, how it has revealed her circulatory system, the mark of tissue damage looking like lightning crackling across the sky. Because I want to talk about lightning. I want to talk about that magnetic moment. I want to talk about him. I want to talk about how he imprinted himself on my skin, how my veins still rattle with him, how touch is shocking, fast, and effective. An electric touch translated in my body in the space of 0.2 of a second. The time it takes to realize a touch. 0.2 of a second leading to a surge of a connection that lasts. This is about him, his touch, his one chance, the flash. This is how it happens. His touch interrupts the way my body is walking. The feel of the summer night breeze swishing the hem of my cotton dress, kissing my thighs, is forgotten in the moment of his one chance. A touch, an alteration, a new reorientation. First, he compasses me. Here is my body adjusting to the significance of his feet running up behind me. And his quadriceps flex, his hamstrings elongate, determined feet propel him forward toward me, his body full of movement, of want of an undeniable, unstoppable magnetic pull. What turned him on? What jolted him in my direction? How did he see me walking alone down the too dark sidewalk? How did he know this was his one chance? How long had he been watching me? His plan brewing, stewing. An irresistible lure, his feet then running, the violence of his storm. He pushes the feel of the summer night breeze out of my mind and sight, his clear sight of me walking down a street alone at night. There, he strikes. In a brief moment, my muscles clench, my neck a nexus of startle that quickly spreads, 0.2 of a second. A surge of sensory synapses. Inside, cells circulate the feel of him on me, fingers like magnets, then, hey baby, what's your name? His voice like a lover's heavy breath blanketing my skin. And there's the fact of his other hand. As where the hem of my dress shapes itself, it is not long enough. His hand as it finds its way. One set of fingers caressing my shoulder, one set reaching up, underneath, from behind me, the short dress. Think bowling ball. He reaches in, tries to break the barrier of brown cotton dress, thumb there, finger here. His hands reach, searching, curious as to how much distance within me he can achieve, the stimuli. Magnetic. Two energies charging, building up, then colliding, then striking. It's how electricity is conceived. And consider the concept of safety, of what the meteorologists advise about when I should seek shelter after hearing thunder. Use the flash to bang method, they say. The number of seconds between the striking light and the rumble of thunder, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, each second a mile. How long until I should seek safety? 0.2 of a second. The magnetic pull of him towards me, his hands on me, tactility. The spark, a cliche. I have to use it anyway. Suppose I were to tell you he only touched me once. Suppose I were to tell you I haven't seen him since. Suppose I were to tell you his hands have yet to recede. Suppose I were to tell you I have yet to let down my hackles. Better to be safe than sorry. I didn't react to the sound of footsteps pounding, then a grabbing hand, a shaken shoulder, a body electrocuted by shock, tissue damage. Long after he is gone, long after he walks away and turns the corner, after 3 years of therapy, he still strikes me, again, and again, and again. After he grabbed me, after I did not tell him my name, after I roared and thundered, after I turned around to face him, my shoulder then released, his fingers jerking out of me, I looked at the shadows of his eyes. Lured into that field, the fact of his attraction, his decision. He came to me, fact, magnets interact. I stand still now, on guard, stand expectant, watching him fade away momentarily. I will never see him again. I will see him every day. Years later, I will have gone through many lovers. Many hands will touch my clothes, will help to tear this dress from my flesh in just a flash. But it will be his hands I remember best. Our flash of a moment lingers. Yes, his fingers. My body was the focal point of his attention. He chose me to be the one to feel his touch. Magnetic. I want to talk about a different man now, Roy Sullivan, a lightning survivor. And not just a one-time survivor of that rare occurrence, but on 7 different occasions, the lightning stroked him, jolted him, and he survived each time. And then he died. How? Did the 7 doses of lightning's assault finally overpower him? This man, this human lightning conductor, this man named Roy, who became a human lightning rod, who found his place in the world record books because of the 7 times, was not killed by lightning. What killed him was the self-induced gunshot wound to the head at the age of 71. Perhaps it was about an unrequited love, a lack of love. If only he could have seen what did love him, the huge bouts of lightning that just couldn't stay away. His body and brain fried from the 7 times. Add to that a lover who perhaps wanted nothing to do with his tissue-damaged skin, did not want to look at the sight of his veins tattooed on him like lightning crackling across the sky. Maybe at 71, he got a case of the fuckets, a flash of a plan, a bang of its execution. The odds of getting struck by lightning are 1 in 700,000. Something thought Roy was special, how it always found him, how it singled him out 7 times. 10% of lightning victims are killed. Roy waited until after he survived to die. And what about me? How I was struck? What are the odds of sexual assault? 1 in 4. This strikes me. I'm talking about lightning. 3 million flashes of lightning occur each day around the world. 3 million right conditions. He sees her, she does not see him. 1 in 4 women. Veins crackle across the sky. The idea of a we builds up. I cannot strike it out of me. The brain continues making the connections again and again and again. And then 3 years later, and then still the synapses, and then still the synapses, and again, and the synapses snap out of it. This is about lightning. There, between us, magnetic flux, the density of our different desires tethering us together. I am pulled towards him. my memories compassed. This is about lightning, desire, need, to one day feel the calm after his storm. Traumatized. Thank you for listening to that.
That was good. That's good.
I debated. I love you. There goes my therapist. I love you. It was good to see you. Thank you.
So good to see you.
Yeah. I'm like, we could hug each other all night. I debated doing the whole trigger warning thing, but didn't debate it too long because that would have ruined the piece, I think, you know? As my husband and I were talking about it, he's like, well, the door is unlocked. So, I don't know. For me, I feel like trigger warnings is like, you gotta know how to take care of yourself. And so, if it's a piece that's challenging, you gotta know how to take care of yourself to be able to do that. So, I know that's a huge discussion and argument, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay, so now, I'm going to stop traumatizing you. I'm going to end on a funny one, and it's about sex, so that's great. I have to have a sip of water. Hold on. Oh. What you finally attend to. You are fully aware of the fact that you are a lesbian. You're fully aware of the fact that he is a straight man. And you are fully aware of the fact that your underwear is sopping wet right now because you are thinking about him. This has been going on for 9 years. But during those 9 years, you were a lesbian and he was a straight man, and you had a crush on him, but there was that whole lesbian straight man dynamic thing going on. So what could you do? You shrugged your shoulders, and yet your body and your wants persisted. The fantasies you couldn't fight. How they pressed on your skin, surged through your blood, unable for you to ignore. 9 years go by. And then it is February 2012, and the two of you start up a conversation about erotica on Facebook. Thank you, social media. The two of you talk. By the end of that 7-hour-long talk, you, the lesbian, have told him about the crush that you have always had on him. And he, the straight dude, has told you about the crush that he has always had on you. And you have chatted about fucking each other, and you've taken a few masturbating breaks, and by the end of it all, he has purchased bus tickets, and in 2 weeks will take a 26-hour bus ride to come see you. He takes a 26-hour bus ride to come see you, and then he comes. And then you come. And then he raises his head, and he says, God, I love eating pussy. And you say, me too! And then you, the lesbian, are dating a man. And as you date this man, you're fully aware of yourself, of how you have finally attended to your sopping wet underwear. You inform your mother of this radical shift in your sexuality. She is a bit shocked. She has always liked your girlfriends, always accepted you for who you are. And so this time around, when there's another little flip in your sexuality, she's the one that says, it doesn't matter what gender the other person is as long as you love them, which is the exact same fucking thing you said to her 12 years ago when you first declared yourself a lesbian. You as a lesbian, the girlfriends, the gay bars, the one-night stands with softball dykes, the crushes on coaches, the picking of pubes from teeth, the way you drool at women who smoke cigarettes. 12 years of picking pubes, 12 years of drooling, yes, lesbian. But now there is a man inside you. A man who is your best friend, who is your only male friend, who is the only man you would ever let slip himself inside you. This, in a way, is what you have been waiting for. The dildos did a fantastic job, but there is always that nagging feeling of wanting something more. Perhaps it was that something about him that nagged at you for that something more. Funny story. You wouldn't have met him had it not been for your lesbianism. You were a senior in high school and didn't know where to go to college, so you asked your boss, who you had a crush on, what to do. She told you to apply to her alma mater. You loved her so much, wanted her so much, that you would do anything to make her happy, to make her approve of you, and hopefully like you, perhaps have sex with you. So of course you didn't say no. You applied. You applied to a college you knew nothing about. You were fully aware of the fact that the only reason why you applied to this college is that you had the slim hope that maybe your boss/crush would visit you once a year during homecoming. To you, that once a year was reason enough. She wrote the letter of recommendation. You went to the interview in which you were asked odd questions you didn't quite understand the purpose of, such as, which 3 things would you bring with you to college in order to remember your past? Picture? Journal? What the fuck ever. You got in. And it was at that college from which your crush had just graduated, the crush who led you there, that you met him. Instantly, he slips into your mind, penetrates your thoughts. You don't know why, but he does. You resist being fully aware of this. You are most certain you are a lesbian. You have a gay pride tattoo. So there's no hope here. Even when he is your roommate for 2 years and you actively have to resist kissing him goodnight, even when you have dreams about him that make your underwear sopping wet, even then, there's the fact of a forever lesbian thing with a big gay rainbow on your ankle. So yeah, no hope here. And yet, the hope holds out for 9 years. And then you have the Facebook conversation in which you type in those specific, I have a crush on you, confessional words, and then he dittos them. And then he takes a 26-hour bus ride to come see you, and then he slips himself inside you. And then you transition from being a lesbian to being a has-been, and then 5 months later you're married to him. And you will stand on the wrong sides of each other during the ceremony because you're breaking tradition. And there will be no white dress, but a cherry red cocktail dress and silver sparkling high heels. And there will be no march down the aisle, but a 2-step down it with your mother. And your lesbian friends will be there to woot you on. Yes, you're fully aware of the irony of how if it weren't for your lesbianism, your crush on another woman, you would not have gone to that college, would not have met him, would not have felt this pleasure, this remedy to the sopping wet underwear, would not have finally admitted that you wanted to commit yourself to him for, well, forever. So you were fully aware of the fact that the lesbians helped to deliver him to you. And to that, you slip off your sopping wet underwear, straddle the man you never thought you would allow yourself to straddle, and you say, thank you, lesbians. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
2 people rock. I don't know, usually it's like Q&As and questions. I don't know. Or if we just talk. It's weird. That's fun. Anyway.
I'm curious about constructing collections. Did
Yeah.
the theme of the collection come first, or did the essays come first?
I think actually that the essays came first.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I just could not stop writing about the body.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what am I doing? I don't know. I'm just writing about the body. And then when I came up with the concept of like your body being a place of home, that's when stuff just really started to come together for me. So that was that was the moment that then I was about maybe halfway. I love you, bye Linda. Women are just leaving and blowing kisses at me. This is the theme for the night. I was about halfway through writing the essays when I realized that I like kind of had a theme. And actually the first draft of the book is like 350 pages long.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
There's a lot of essays in it because I just was like, body, home, and so I just kept writing about the body, and then eventually like dwindled them down and chose the ones that I really liked, and then yeah, it just kind of came about in that way. And then as far as like organizing them in my head, I organize by like theme, flow, and also from the total craft nerd. So like pace, commas actually, I think about commas, and structure and how it's formatted. But yeah, the theme.
Yeah, I really appreciated the speed, how like the variations in speed between between
Yeah.
different essays.
The publisher was like, "There's a lot of bullet points." And I'm like, "I like bullet points. There are. I like lists."
So how did you edit it down then? You just
How did I edit it down? I think actually, this is the funny thing with this book. So in 2012, I want to say, I submitted this book about 60 times. Totally rejected 60 times. And that's like to agents, to publishers, whatever. And so I was just like, okay, it's not meant to be published. That's okay. You know, first book, whatever, that was practice, warm up. I'll go on to something else. And so for a year and a half went on to something else. And then I had submitted an essay to a contest, and the woman who was the editor liked my essay and asked if I had a manuscript. And I was like, funny, I do. And so I sent this to her, and she really liked it. And so she kind of helped to go through like what ones the tone fit best. The last essay that I read, the What You Finally Attend To, I wrote that like a year ago, whereas one of the essays in here I wrote like 4 years ago. These are the first essays that I ever wrote, and in fact the Objects of Desire, it's about masturbation. It's the first essay I've ever had published. I was like, Mom, I got published. It's about masturbation. Have fun with that. Anyway, to answer your question though, like it was just going back and forth with her, and by the time that she had asked for a manuscript from when I first wrote it, it'd been like 3 years. And so I'd sat with it. My writing is much different now. The Striking Resemblance piece is more of what my writing is than what's in this book. And so I kind of came at it from a different perspective too, and just picked what I felt most proud of, and also like what best fit thematically.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Any other? Awesome. Okay. Thank you, people.
Thank you.
Thank you for existing. It was really great. Sorry if I traumatized you, but you know, they were good therapists. Work through that.
Awesome. I think if you have books to sign, or do you have another question?
No,
Okay.
I can answer.
That's like,
No, let's go there.
we'll probably now just go into a conversation, which is fine. It's actually
So there's books available at the counter if you want to pick one up, and then Chelsey will sign them for you. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you guys.
Right.
You attended my first reading ever.
Thanks for
Congrats.
reading.
You guys rock. Oh, should I go? Hi, Mom.
Sure.
We recorded for my mother. I feel like I should do an interpretive dance.
Well, that's cool.
I remember your face, but I don't remember your name.